Aries. Hello, Aries. Last but not least, how are you doing? Let's see what's going on in your divine union twin flame journey. The last couple readings were more divine path and self-work and shadow work. It was very deep cycle breaking work that was needed. And you, as the leader of the zodiac, of the boss of the zodiac, right? Let's see if we can help raise the collective frequency here. All right, clear the fear. So my T here is, we can always start again. That's what my pumpkin spice tea says. Can always start again. And the incense that I chose for you, I choose it, I just look at them and then I see what, it's an assortment pack or whatever. And so then based on the colors or whatever, you can see the key that tells you which one you chose. And I chose Jasmine for your reading. So maybe that's your name, maybe that's your favorite smell or flower, or maybe surrounding yourself with that scent is going to be helpful in attuning your frequency. Could be spring, right? Something to do with spring. I mean, that's your season partially, so let's see. Aries, divine union. All right, we're going to read for the feminine. We all have divine feminine and masculine within us. But you know which one that you associate with. And if you don't, then you've got some more work to do. But this is for the individuals who are single, who are not putting their energy into others, who have done shadow work. There is no finish line, so it's not like you're done, but you're at the point where your frequency is, the divine union is when your frequency is at that divine alignment with your twin flame. All right, so we'll see. We've got the Page of Pentacles, the Five of Swords, the Seven of Swords at the center here. Seven of Swords, reading it as the Five of Swords, could be that there is blocked communication. Someone has been blocked, cut out temporarily. There's been some sort of disagreement or some sort of not discrepancy. Discrepancy? That's a weird word. Discrepancy. I mean, discrepancy could be like a lie. It could be somebody. But a discrepancy is something that you usually find when you do a review or an inventory of something. You find that there was something left out. So it's more like an omission. Omissions are still lies. So if that's you, that's your person, but maybe you dealt with somebody. Maybe you dealt with people like that in the past. And there's the Seven of Swords tells me that you're guarded against new connections. But see, this individual here is like putting on performance. They're tied to, two of the swords are tied together. So there could have been something in the past that blocked this communication. And maybe you're sort of like kicking yourself, right? This is like feeling guilty. This is self-punishment, that you're going to be doing this, putting this sword like down your throat again and again. So it's kind of like a biting, putting your foot in your mouth, but you're putting the sword in your mouth. So maybe something was said. This is reading for the feminine, so maybe the feminine, or this Seven of Swords could be the feminine is guarded because Now, this discrepancy could also, an omission could be not speaking your truth, right? Maybe somebody didn't express how they actually felt about the other, and they're like kicking themselves now because, I mean, the other person could be in a connection, but I really read for those who have been single for a length of time, not like any rebound or codependent jumping from one relationship to the next. Like there needs to be a grace period. I advocate for a year so that you can truly get all the cycles, all of your seasonal cycles, all of your energetic cycles, all the zodiac cycles, and you can just experience yourself, like spend that first year that is the toughest of any relationship with yourself, to reconfigure, learn how to live with yourself, learn your quirks and your pet peeves. And we do stuff to irritate ourselves, right? And if we're just going from one person to the other, and especially if somebody did not speak their truth, if you're somebody who, it's the trash compactor. I thought it was an animal screaming. But if you are omitting your truth, if you're sugarcoating it, if you're playing nice, if you're not, if you're expressing yourself superficially, then there's some more work that needs to be done. There's some more digging to be done. Now we have the Page of Pentacles and the Lovers sandwiching this very blocked, guarded energy, which Page of Pentacles is someone that's very slow and steady. They've done a lot of work. They're like the most stable of the pages. The other pages are, apology, maybe like a new spark or connection, but this is something solid, fast communication. This is something slow and steady, stays the marathon. It's not here to win the race. So there is no race. So this could kind of be like, I said something, I didn't say something, and now I'm just here by myself. And this tether to the past communication or past thoughts, right? With the Two of Swords here. Two of Swords is about an unforeseen decision that's coming, like a choice that's coming. And so if you're kind of like eating your words and you're just sort of regurgitating them, and it's just like this cycle of overthinking and guilt or shame or regret or anything like that, it's like, we're going to clarify, but I feel like you're not paying attention and somebody is coming in. And so, I don't really believe in missed opportunities. There can be opportunities and you don't honor them, or you don't take advantage of them at the time, but then it wasn't divine timing. You were not ready, or the other person wasn't ready. If it doesn't come together, then it wasn't divine timing, right? So that's why like all divine unions are twin flames, but not all twin flames reach divine union. It's all about divine timing. And so I think that if you or your person is in this energy of like regret and feeling like an asshole, or feeling like stupid, feeling like they can't express themselves truthfully, you don't want to be with them, and they're not ready to be with you, right? And if this is you, you're not ready to be with anybody else either. There's a need to honor the connection. You want the connection to be balanced. So the advice in this is to let go, right? There's a cord that needs to be cut, and there's a little, like in the movies, whenever the rope is unraveling and it's like, oh no, is the hero gonna make it or whatever? It's like there's still I feel like this person is maybe doing work on that to cut that cord, but there's still a little fibers connected, right? Now that can also go in the reverse of saying, like there's still time. If maybe you're like, well, I said a thing, it's a missed opportunity. Maybe you're feeling like it's a missed opportunity, and that this love offer is never going to come. It's never going to come around for you. Just know there's still time, right? And you can still save yourself. You know, there's enough of a fiber here to save yourself. So if that is like the sword of truth here at your feet, so maybe something with like grounding your energy, going on a walk, you know, maybe you wear, and see how they're wearing like this pointed toe shoe over here, and then this one is open. You know, maybe getting like barefoot shoes, changing your footwear is a very practical way of getting your roots to kind of spread out and making yourself feel grounded. Because if you're up in the swords energy, you need to come back down to earth. You're too much up in the air. You're too much up in the thinking and the logic of it, and you can't intellectualize love, right? I mean, you can have logical approaches. You want to be able to say why you love somebody. If you're like, oh, I can't describe it, that's probably a toxic connection, right? There should be some solid, with this energy, maybe you're dealing with an earth sign, there needs to be a solid foundation. There needs to be something that is tangible, right? Actions speak louder than words. This is actions. It's slow actions, it's steady actions, it's methodical actions, right? It's something somebody's been working on for a while to get it right. Right? This could be some sort of creative project also that you're working on, right? And there's that red shoe again. Maybe you're going to make shoes like Daniel Day-Lewis. Maybe you're dealing with a Taurus. He is a Taurus. But yeah, they're these pointed-toed shoes, and I feel like, and this is specific, but it does make me think of P.S. I Love You, which, you know, maybe you lost a connection. I mean, someone could have passed away, and maybe you didn't speak your truth, and maybe you think, like, you're never going to find love again. You know, because that's like a big issue in that movie, is that she's, you know, her husband passes away, and he leaves her these letters and everything to kind of like help her go through the grieving process, and so this could be more ethereal. Like if you're up in the clouds, up in your thoughts, up in your swords, you may need to do that grounding work so that you can, and that root chakra work of letting go, so that you can open up your higher chakras, so that you're able to receive source information and receive angelic and ancestral support. So if this could be with anyone. This could be with a parent. This could be with a loved one, right? If something wasn't said, or if something was said, like your last words to them was an argument, and then they passed away, you know, you might be really stuck on that and maybe feeling undeserving of new love. That's specific, but that could also be for you. But we have the Lovers here, so, you know, that's Gemini, but that's also, with Lovers, there's always a choice. And maybe you were with somebody that you couldn't be honest with. You couldn't be yourself with. You couldn't speak your truth with. Right? And so maybe you're just kind of, maybe they'll come back, because those type people often do. Whenever you're getting close to a divine connection, they're like, oh, you know, let me get in here and try one more time. So this Seven of Swords as a light aspect, because I've just described all the shadow aspects of it, but as a light aspect, it can mean to be watchful and guard yourself and make sure that you're not going to be consuming a cycle of the past, right? You want something new, and you know, maybe you've been waiting for a long time, and if there's any sort of impatience associated with this person taking as long as they're on divine time, right? Wouldn't you rather spend a day with your divine counterpart than spend 100 with, you know, karmic cycles? If your answer is no, then you can just find someone else. find someone else to listen to. So for the masculine here, we have Temperance. So yeah, that is having patience and having faith in divine timing. Also relying on your angelic support, right? Whatever you believe angels are, whatever you believe about your ancestors, your guides, Divine support is really tempering your ego, fortifying that sword, forging your sword so that you have something that is strong and direct, right? It's holding your boundaries. So if this is something where you didn't establish a boundary, your boundary was crossed and your past connections put you in a place where you feel undeserving of love, or you felt undeserving of love, the Ace of Swords is something that is what the Queen of Swords wields, right? It's something with the feminine aspect here. The Queen of Swords is able to receive offers, but they have their sword there that's very direct. They're not going to take any bullshit. They're not going to take anything that's not for them. They're not cruel. They can be, misjudged or, perceived as being cold or distant, but it's just because they know what's for them and what isn't for them. They're great at discerning offers that they want to accept and that will serve them, and offers that they need to cut out that don't serve them. So this is like the discernment of, I'm tethered to something, and there is this sword here that's actually at your root. It is like the truth. More shoes. Yeah, something with shoes, but In Her Shoes is a movie about two sisters. And they lose a mother. There could be suicide involved in your situation. Maybe you said somebody ended their life, and there could be guilt associated with that. Like, it wasn't your fault. I don't know. Maybe somebody needs to hear that. They were going to do what they were going to do. They were already set on that path, right? Those who commit suicide they've decided, right? They're not like doing it for attention and then like, oops, I actually followed through with it. It's something that they have decided to do. It's the most logical, reasonable, like there's something resolute about it when you decide to end your life, right? Because if there's any doubt, it will represent itself in your methodology. It will represent itself in your choice to not do so. So if somebody follows through with it, then they have already explored all of the options of staying here. Okay, so specific again, but maybe that's something. But In Her Shoes, these sisters, they wear the same size shoe with their grandma as well. So something about like the maternal line, the matriarch, with the feminine here. There's something about, recycling lies about unworthiness to yourself. Maybe that a mother instilled, maybe you had a perfectionist mother, or a very conditional, cold, unnurturing mother who just didn't know how to nurture her feminine, and therefore your feminine is very guarded and very much in masculine energy, because swords are masculine. But there's a poem in there, and it's the root of the root, the bud of the tree called life. So there's something about getting like to the root of the root, and which is your root chakra. You could have a Saturn, check your Saturn placement. You could have Capricorn placements. You could have a stellium of Capricorn, right? You could really be dealing with a lot of Saturn energy, devil energy. That's fear. That's, any type of fear or doubt on your divine path is the devil trying to get in there and deter you from your path, and deter you from that faith of tempering the ego, of tempering, your temptations, and to lure you into the easy path, right? There's a movie, A Walk in the Woods, with Robert Redford and Nick Nolte. So funny. I love them. They have great chemistry in that movie. But they're old buddies, and Robert Redford wants to go walk to the Alpine Trail, something with an A. But he wants to go walk the trail, and Nick Nolte, he's calling all of his friends, and Nick Nolte ends up reaching out. Well, Nick Nolte's kind of like a troublemaker. He's, borrows money. He just, he's Nick Nolte. And so it's just a funny sort of a dynamic or whatever, but there's this constant, like Nick Nolte's character is always wanting to like take shortcuts or like get a ride and skip ahead on the trail. And Robert Redford's character is like, no, I said I was going to do this. I'm not taking any shortcuts. I'm not half-assing it. Like I can't half-ass life, so I'm not going to, so they have this constant struggle between them of trying to take the easy route. And there's a difference between taking the easy route and comforting your ego, right? We don't want to obliterate the ego. The ego is how we navigate this terrestrial plane. So there's something in your ego, which is part of your inner child, right? Because children are born into this world kind of like new egos, right? And so like any of the fractures or anything that happened in the ego early on set us up for later work or lack thereof in our adult life. And so there's something maybe at the root at your like early childhood development that has lasted you your whole life, right? That's something that needs to be comforted, because at the time you were truly a victim of the circumstance. As a child, you're an innocent child. You relied on, whomever your guardians were. And so there may be an issue with asking for help or, expressing that and again, maybe you are struggling with thoughts of suicide or ruminations about just maybe not being alive, I feel for you there, but reach out, find something to, and maybe it's because you're being so hard on yourself and you're not asking for help. And that can be asking the divine for help. That can be, asking animals, right? My dogs are literally the only reason that I could logically come up with when I was going through my darkest night of the soul. I had a lot of suicidal ideations, and it made the most sense to me until I thought, well, I don't have anybody in my life that I trust, but then that meant I didn't have anybody that would take care of my dogs. So they're why I didn't go through with it, And then of course, and dog spelt backwards is God, or God spelt backwards is dog, or however you want to look at it. Maybe there's something about a loyal friend, and it can be an animal, it can be the divine, right? It's something unconditional. That loyalty is unconditional. So sometimes we only find that if we have a plant. Sometimes we only find that if we go outside, and maybe you can't have, maybe your life or your finances or whatever doesn't allow you to keep an animal, or your living situation, but you can go into nature, and that's getting into the root, that's getting into like the feet, walking barefoot and going outside and regrounding yourself, reconnecting with earth and the reason that you are still holding on, right? There's something that you still have to hold on to and hold on for, and it's this love. And if you're struggling with that hopelessness, if you're struggling with a lack of faith, know that means that you're getting closer, because that doubt and that fear is the devil. And the closer you get to God, the closer the devil gets to you, because you're a greater threat to the devil and the devil's process of keeping those in doubt, like on their side, in the grand ethereal cosmic battle of good and evil, and dark and light are not good or evil. And those are relative. There's dark and light and masculine and feminine and death and rebirth in all things, right? So it's not like good and evil is divine and demonic. So anything that's a lie and anything that's a truth. All right, so there's something about speaking your truth, and maybe your truth is that I'm struggling and I need help, and you need some sort of resources. So Sometimes the only unconditional person that you can find is maybe those who have passed. So maybe reaching out to a loved one that has passed, maybe reaching out to, praying, sending prayers out and saying like, I need help. I'm hurting, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with my faith. Help me. And guess what? You will receive it. But not if you're just shoving old lies down your throat, lies that were instilled in you very early on. This is about you speaking your truth, no matter if it's the ugly truth, right? With Gerard Butler and Katherine Heigl. That's just like a silly rom-com, but to just throw that in with this like heavy message. But yeah, maybe because swords are also breath, right? So maybe you need to just laugh. You could do some laughing yoga, right? Which essentially is you just sit down and laugh. When I was very little, I used to like kind of play this game. Then I realized like, oh, this is a whole spiritual practice. There are indigenous peoples that will get together and they will laugh because laughter is the best medicine. So if you're feeling mental illness, because this is kind of two swords away from the 8 and 9, which is anxiety, it's depression, it's overthinking, mental disruptions, sleepless nights, right? So it could be affecting your physical health, or it's going to. So this is kind of like there's still time, there's still something to hold on to. There's still something there. So don't quit, right? Don't quit, and that is, temperance. That's keeping the faith. That's, temperance, Sagittarius. We're in that season right now. So it's like, there's some sort of like action. Actions speak louder than words. I think that you need to get your body moving. Maybe you're dealing with depression. Get your body moving, going for walks, going outside. If you do have any pets, take them for a walk. Use them as an excuse to live. If that's all it takes. Like, and gratitude. Gratitude is so healing. And so you can think anything and you can think nothing. You can just say, thank you. If you're really struggling, just say, thank you, right? Because suffering is life. And so if you're suffering, and suffering is relative and it's a perception. It's a subjective reality to suffer, right? And so you can keep saying, like, this sucks, or you can just say, thank you. Like, this is what I incarnated for. I decided that I wanted to be a human being so I could have these experiences of emotions and not just be floating around impervious to the ego. You chose the ego. That's why you're here. Whether you want to hear that or not, that's why we're all here. We chose this. We chose our parents. We chose this life. We decided. We ordered it like a menu, like a divine menu. We said, this is what I want to do. So gratitude helps you realize that, like, oh yeah, I did ask for these challenges. I did ask for this applied stress that's going on in my life. That's what temperance is. When you temper a sword, you apply heat to it, right? You apply pressure to something. You temper it. You make it stronger by applying stress, right? We build bones by applied stress. So it's something about like your structure, your foundation you need to apply some stress to it, apply some strength so that you can gain some strength from it. Most often what I have found with people that I've worked with is that, especially for children of chaos, right, which we are here, is that peace is the most stressful thing for children of chaos, right? It's like, this is like self-cutting. So this is just like torturing yourself for no reason. This is torturing yourself because you were tortured as a child, right? Could be physical, mental, emotional, sexual abuse, whatever it is. You're worthy of unconditional love. And this conditional love that you keep giving to yourself, it's not working, right? And that's this Ace of Cups here to clarify that, is to fill your own cup. This is gratitude. See, my cup runneth over. What is that? Hope floats. My cup burneth over. I always thought she said, my cup burneth over. And I was like, who's burneth over? But it's my cup runneth over. It's from the Bible. But hope floats. It's like, and maybe, you know, these movies, these are things that film has gotten me through. That's how I first started divining. I didn't really have a lot of family or friends or relationships that I could rely on to view or to like take information from, like to get any sort of culture from, or until I was older and I was able to, you know, leave the conditional confines of my raising. So there's something about, you know, if you are not seeing it around you, if you're not seeing the hope around you, if you're not seeing the reason to hold out for this union, right? Then you know, you might need to maybe just laugh. I feel like you just need to laugh. I think you need to just watch some movies, go easy on yourself, rest, you know, and, you know, Aries is very, you guys are the boss, you guys are the emperors, you guys are the, you know, fiery, you can be workaholics sometimes, you know, you can just, and that could be it here. Like you're just pushing yourself, you're working too hard because you never felt worthy, because whatever you did as a child was never good enough. You're like, you're just going to keep going until whatever is around you proves you're good enough. But the only thing that can prove you're good enough is within you, okay? That's maybe sounds after school special, but deal with it. Deal with it. Deal with corny. I think you need some just sort of like levity. You need to give yourself some grace. That grace period I was talking about earlier, you need to have grace for yourself, right? And I know that sounds very bossy, but I think you need to like loosen the reins on yourself and just like go easy. It's not that serious. It's just life, honey. Like it's just life, you know, and it's gone so quickly. So there's no need to cut it shorter, and there's no need to dwell in the sadness, right? And, you know, my dad, the dad who raised me, he's a Gemini. He always said, you know, if it doesn't matter in a year, it doesn't matter now. And he'd ask me if I was like dealing with anxiety or depression. He would be like, is it going to matter in a year? And most of the time it didn't. But that's very, very Gemini energy. So if you want the lovers, maybe you have a Gemini placement. Maybe you know a Gemini around you that you can kind of mimic or model your actions off of, and just be a little bit more devil may care, right? Because it's like there's some sort of like protection, affirmations that you need to, spell work that you need to do that's going to, and that can just be a gratitude list. That can just be saying thank you to your water. That can be saying, you know, 3 things in your environment that you're thankful for, and no buts, right? Don't say, well, I'm grateful for this, but I wish it were that. Be grateful for what is, okay? Something about being in the now. Be here, be now. That's a great song by Ray LaMontague. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's how I say it. So, the Montague, what is that? Montague? That is, with the Jesus guy and Guy Pearce, Count of Monte Cristo, right? There's like this treasure, like maybe you're going to get some sort of inheritance, because I do feel like there's a divine intervention, like a happy tower that's going to come in. So it's just focus on you and filling yourself up so that you aren't expecting or needing, there's no codependency in needing someone else to tell you that you're amazing, someone telling you that, like if this union is the only thing that you're going to be grateful for, then it's never going to happen. Okay, you need to be grateful here and now, right? Having a mantra. I am here, I am now, I am thankful, I am grateful, I'm abundant, I am loved, I am... Start giving yourself some mantras to reframe, because your foundation is shaky, to reframe your... Because swords are thoughts, right? They're words, and then they become our belief system. So there's something about your belief system that's blocking you. But with the Lovers, we have the Emperor. So the masculine is coming in. All right, the masculine is coming in. They're going to be this Page of Pentacles. I was getting Capricorn earlier, and the Emperor can also be associated with Capricorn, so maybe you're dealing with a Capricorn. Let's see on that Emperor. 8 of Cups, 3 of Wands, and the Queen of Swords. Why is there so much guarded energy and like wanting to walk away? There's such a resistance. I don't know that you feel you can accept their love. What is that, Knocked Up? Where, and Paul, oh, not Giamatti, Paul, oh my gosh, Paul, the one that doesn't age. And Seth Rogen, they've taken shrooms, and he's like, I don't think I can accept her love. And he's like, you're a little bitch. You can't accept her love. You're a bitch. You know, and he keeps, I feel like you need to watch some comedies, maybe some like throwback comedies, and just have a laugh. It's not that serious. Not to like belittle, right? Because it's however you're feeling is very serious to you, and you need to honor that. Only you can honor that. And say, well, I was a victim, now I'm a victor, right? You're the victor of your circumstance, right? You reparent yourself, you remother, refather yourself. So if you had a lackluster parent, yes, that's awful. That is a tragedy. That is a trauma. But only you have the power now, the capability, and all the tools, right? Once you realize that someone else was maybe the problem to begin with, but you are at a certain age where you're not under their foot anymore. You're not under their boot, right? So there's no need to keep kicking yourself when you're down with their shoe, right? Yeah. But there's this guarded energy here where it's like you don't feel deserving of this Emperor's love. All right, and over here with Temperance, we have that 9 of Swords. Yeah, see, it's, if you don't snap out of this, right? If you don't snap out of it and do whatever it takes, like go for, if you're having a hard time sitting still and meditating and having laughter and all that, well, then activate your solar plexus and your diaphragm by running, right? Go for a run. You know, the best way to meditate and sit with yourself in a yin nurturing way is to sit and deal with the discomfort of that and do it until it's comfortable. But I feel like if you need something if you're reluctant to do that, or you're finding yourself resistant to accept the nurturing yin love, if you're in a masculine energy, there are yang approaches to yin, right? So you can get yourself exhausted physically, not mentally, because we're trying to get out of the swords. Do something in the physical. Do something to exhaust yourself and give yourself some muscle fatigue so that you're tired, right? That's why, you know, you have the relaxation period at the end of a really tough yoga session. And it's maybe the yoga session's like 45 minutes and the last bit is only like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, right? But it's so soothing to the body, that period. It's like a micro nap, right? You have to get yourself to the point that you're so exhausted that your body is just like, lay the fuck down. Because you guys, I feel like you guys are just running and doing like emotionally and mentally running. And so if that's what you're doing in the mental body, you need to move that into the physical body, bring it into something tangible that you can control, right? And then you can take that can be your practical approach to getting into a yin place and just getting yourself to where you physically can't go on because you're exhausted, because you just ran however many miles. So now that you're exhausted, take a nice long hot bath or shower or something, and then lay down, light some incense, maybe surround yourself with some jasmine, right? Soothe your senses and get florals around you. Get something feminine smells, maybe some floral teas, right? And so something with florals, I think that you need to kind of nurture yourself. And florals can be representative of the yoni, right? The feminine, the source of creation, right? So there's something, if your creative power is stunted, and that's what the divine union is, it's the divine masculine, divine feminine coming together as the divine creation. This is that holy trinity. It's bringing those three together. So the Nine of Swords, if you're in the Seven of Swords energy, if you relate to that, if you're like, yeah, I'm guarded, yeah, whatever, maybe you're resistant to the idea that you are, I feel a lot of resistance, resistant to the idea that you're the problem, or that you're always the problem and you're always the solution. After a certain point, you're the victor. You're not the victim anymore. So there's a need to kind of like, I keep saying it, snap out of it. Because the Nine of Swords, if you don't get a hold of this, it's going to turn into anxiety, sleepless nights. It's going to affect your physical health. So if you're in this mental disruption, right, before it turns into a physical dis-ease, right, ease is not easy. It's creating comfort in the discomfort. So you need to sit with whatever it is that you're feeling resistant to. And if that's love, then you need to sit with it until you feel full, right? And stop depriving yourself. Stop. This is sabotage and deprivation. Knock that shit off. Doing that to my Aries. Don't do that. It's my friend you're depriving. The Hierophant. So yeah, this is Taurus. You could be dealing with a Taurus, but this is the High Priest. This is someone who channels information from the 5D. They receive information from the 5D and they translate it and teach it, and they're like the medium to the 3D. All right, this is somebody who Taurus is really, they comfort the senses. I feel like you need to give yourself like a sensual day of rest, where it's like you just activate all the senses, right? You eat really good comforting food. Make yourself a nice comforting meal. Maybe you're like, well, I can't because it will mess with my macros, or if I don't go to the gym, I'm gonna fucking just explode. Okay? Deal with it. Sit with that and be like, why can't I just take a day off? Why can't I rest? Because you don't feel deserving of it. So you need to do these things that you're feeling comfortable doing until they are comfortable, right? Until you go, oh yeah, my cup actually runneth over. I am abundant. And once you have that realization, this Emperor is going to come in, right? I'm actually going to put these back here because I don't like that resistance to the Emperor. The Emperor is your divine counterpart. What's behind this? Yeah, Tower, the Fool. This is going to take, and you know, the Tower is Mars, the Emperor is Mars, and the Fool is Aries and Aquarius, right? So it's like you're showing up a lot here. This person is your counterpart, all right? And if you're the masculine, you might be dealing with a feminine that's really struggling with their self-worth, and they're gonna need some time. So you want to make sure that you're not coming in to save anybody if they're in this. They're not. No one's a damsel in distress here. You want to make sure that they are doing the work to fill their own cup, because otherwise you're going to exhaust yourself. You can't fix anybody. You're going to exhaust yourself into a place of doing it all for them, right? Don't chase. The Emperor doesn't chase anyway, so if that's you, I don't really need to tell you that. But you could be like, I know this is my person, my twin flame, but if you push the twin flame together before it's divine timing, then it's never going to be divine. It will always be that runner-chaser dynamic. It will be like that toxic connection. And The Emperor and the Empress do not run or chase. They are content and abundant, and they are deserving of love, right? These are people who are the divine alchemist. They are the magician, right? Mercurial, they're of the throat chakra. They know how to speak their truth and live their truth and be their truth, right? So, and the Hierophant is the throat chakra as well. Taurus is the throat chakra, but I feel like you need to just soothe yourself. Like, give yourself a break, right? If you have, maybe that person that never takes sick days, right? Maybe you need to take a couple sick days before you have to take like sick weeks, right? Before you have to like be in the hospital. You know, people say like, oh, healthy food is so expensive or whatever. Well, how expensive are those doctor's bills? How expensive is your medical insurance, right? And not just financially. I mean, monetarily, that's an issue, but how about energetically, right? How far is that setting you back energetically? Because you have to reinvest in yourself until your bank account is balanced, it's full, right? So that when you don't invest into another connection with no money in the bank. That's how you get into debt. That's how you have been in this cycle of giving your energy to people who were undeserving of it because you felt undeserving of it. So yeah, I feel like you need to eat some comfortable food, eat some comforting food, things that are nourishing, but also, I mean, they can be healthy. I mean, healthy foods are very comforting. They're comforting, they're truly comforting to the body, like on a cellular level. They don't leave you, on the toilet all day. They don't leave you feeling, cramps or disruptions, but something with and if you're feeling anxiety with all these swords, something with your gut health. I just got some holiday kombucha, so I'm pretty excited about that. I can't do it too often because it has caffeine in it, and the added sugar and everything is like, it gives me a little buzz. And there are some that have a lot of them will have a little bit of alcohol. And so if not just one, but if I have a couple, like for days in a row, then I notice that it actually does influence my alcohol cravings and trigger my depressive mood shift. So that's just a little thing about me. Maybe you're dealing with bipolar disorder or, with the depression we talked about earlier. So it's like something that benefits you and makes you feel good, but maybe it's indulgent. It's like a piece of cake is not going to kill you, right? Unless you're allergic to some of the ingredients that are in there. But yeah, I feel like you just need to cut yourself some damn slack. Surround yourself with nice smells, some incense. Maybe if you are up for it, a lot of people don't like it, but that's because they're full of demons. But saging is really helpful. Having some sort of practice of protection spells that you do in your house, that helps with your health because you're actually opening spaces. You're allowing sunlight and fresh air into closets, so microbes and dust and dust mites and pests and things, right? Like when it's dusty or dirty, then you start to get pests, and then the pests become parasites because they like to nest in there, and that's a good place to lay their eggs and etc. So something about like cleaning your house physically, spiritually, and that could be something that maybe you do. That could be your yang approach. Is like it takes active masculine energy to clean your space, but you can put on nice soothing music, you can have nice smells going on, you could wear your favorite clothes, like just get in your sweats, be in your comfy slippers, wear textiles so touch is nurtured, and again, eat something delicious, have some delicious tea or like your favorite beverage, right? Order your favorite coffee or whatever it is. Maybe you don't want to drink coffee all the time, but do something that's comforting, and then just kind of activate your body, move your body in that space to cleanse it out, and so that way you can make room, right? Because I feel like you can't fill your cup up with unconditional love or water. We'll just speak in elements. You can't fill it up with water because it's full of dust, right? It's full of dust, that cup. It's full of old shit. Also, like doing breath work, if you don't exhale completely, every new breath you have is still going to be polluted with the old one. There's still going to be that sediment. Something about sediment, changing your air filters, changing your water filters. That's always good practical advice to like helping with your... Someone in my attic. No, clear the fear. No one's up there. No one of this world. But there's a need to let go, exhale completely. That song by Frau, Imogen Heap, is from the movie Garden State, which I love, which Natalie Portman is a Gemini. I don't know what Zach, whatever his name is, but well, he's cute. But there's beauty in the breakdown is one of my favorite lines of all the songs ever. But it's from that song, Let Go, which may be the title of this reading, because I do feel like there's a need to let go. The root chakra, Capricorn energy, devil energy, is all about letting go. It's all about elimination, right? And with the gut health, there could be like a constipation physically in the body. There could be like you're not eating well, you're not thinking well, you're not moving well. So it's like your body is just like in this just trapped, constipated cycle of feeling unwell. We have the Six of Swords here. This is that divine intervention. And with the Tower popping out, you know, it's like, if you don't do this work, if you aren't your own tower, if you don't act as the Fool and take a leap of faith and trust in the process, trust in the timing, trust in your intuition, the universe will send you a tower because you said you wanted this, remember? So the universe will send in a tower that says, okay, now you're going to be forced, and it's going to be really uncomfortable. So if you don't face the discomfort through shadow work, the universe will orchestrate something that makes you face it, and it will be really unexpected, and it will be far more uncomfortable than if you just do it yourself. I feel like this tower is, because this is, you know, the figure coming in and rescuing the divine feminine and the divine creation. This is the masculine doing the work. Now this could be you, right? With the Temperance here, again, like you activating your masculine energy, getting your body moving, doing something practical, logical, masculine in the physical world to help clear out this space. Have you ever tried to pour like water or a liquid on dust? Or like flour if you're baking something, right? It's like if you pour that liquid on there, it just sits on the surface, right? It doesn't, you have to really stir it in, and it's like a whole process. So there's a need to dump that out, clean that cup, clean your vessel, right? Purge it out, sage it out, do some work to like get the kinks out, to open your body, to open your chakras, to get the blockages out, because you've got this blockage here. So there's a need to kind of like get that out, move it out of your body, move it out of your living space, whatever that may be. Your workspace, right? Maybe you need to like clean that up if you have a desk or a cubicle or a work vehicle or something. Literally clean your space out, clear the clutter, because it's like the clutter creates this visual chaos, right? And if you're comforting the senses, something is aggravating your sight. There's too much audible clutter. Ask your five senses so that you can open up to the sixth sense, right? And nurture and comfort them. That's part of the ego. That's part of how the ego helps us, because we as terrestrial beings, physical beings, right? We are, I don't want to say slaves, but we are, we have egos. And so it's like we are, whether we like it or not, we have to serve the ego as well. Now that does not mean make it easier on the ego. That means Comforting is not easing it. That's not enabling the ego to just continue to be disrupted, right? It's, you comfort it, but the way that you comfort it is by creating discomfort, right? So sitting with it. So, sitting in meditation and acknowledging, like, why is that sound irritating me? Why is that smell? What does that smell? It's like, if there's a bad smell and you're not facing it because, maybe you've got some old food in your fridge and it's stinking up the kitchen or something, and you're like, what is that smell? It's bothering. Even if you're not acknowledging it because you're in this place of clutter, if you don't acknowledge it and focus in on it and meditate on it, because that's what meditation is, it's focusing. It's not relieving yourself of all thought. It's focusing on each individual thought as they pass through and acknowledging them, recognizing them, and then letting them pass. But a lot of them need work. If they're associated with the ego, with the physical world, and it's something that's disrupting you, you're like, oh, I can't get any work done and I don't know why. It's because your tunnel vision is too much on the stuff that doesn't matter, right? Or the stuff that's not serving you. So instead, serve yourself by, opening up the senses and going, okay, what's pissing me off here? What's blocking me? And it's like, oh, that smell. Okay, let me clean that out. Let me light a candle or something. Create a soothing environment so that your senses aren't the reason you can't focus on what's important, the reason you can't do the work, right? Because these are our tools. Our 5 senses are our tools. And that's as a Taurus, so I could continue to talk for days and days and days on the senses, because we're the most sensual of the zodiac signs. Taurus like things to be, and it can create an overindulgence. We can get quite hedonistic, right? Because we're like, oh, I really like the way that this feels or tastes, so let me have it every day for the rest of my life. So we have, oh, the Queen of Wands was over here. I didn't even see her. Flipped over. See, the Queen of Wands is like it's a masculine energy, but it's a queen. It's a very powerful queen, right? So it's like, if you're the feminine, using your masculine energy to get yourself on the same frequency of this divine masculine, this emperor, because the emperor showed up. And at the bottom here, we have the empress. So you could be dealing with a Taurus or a Libra, but this is the divine feminine. So this reading feels like it's for the divine feminine. If you're the divine masculine cross-watching, just know that your person is going through this. We have the High Priestess over here. You could have a Pisces placement if you're dealing with a Pisces. That's your intuition. And that's someone who's in this deck, because I burn them with sage. I feel like there's a reluctance to heal yourself. And that's often the case with children of chaos, right? Those who have dealt with, grown up with abuse and conditional upbringings, is like, I'm not worthy of healing. I'm not worthy of being balanced. And you might say, well, I don't believe that. I think I'm worthy of it. But do you really? Like, really do the work and look in there, put a lens on the difficult spots and go, well, I'm obviously doing this to stop myself from healing, because I have the power to heal myself. I have the power to fix my circumstances, to save myself. I can be my own divine intervention. So there's a reason I'm not doing it. And maybe it's just that food in the fridge. Maybe it's, the overwhelming lack of trust in divine timing, right? It's can be a spectrum, but it's start with the 5 senses to open up to the 6th sense, and then you'll really start to see, and that's the 6th sense here is the 3rd eye, the High Priestess. That will help you to open your arms and say, I'm actually worthy of love, right? So get yourself some sage. Or don't, free will, whatever. But hopefully there was something in here for you. I know this is probably quite aggressive, or if you're the bosses, so you probably don't like to be told what to do. So, and I don't blame you. I'm a Taurus, so I get that the horns, don't tell the horns what to do, but If you've made it this far, then obviously something in here triggered you, and where you're triggered, just look at where you're triggered. If you're listening to other readings or there are people around you, if you feel that spark of like, oh, why'd they say that to me? Like, don't tell me what to do. It's like, you're the master of your own, you're the creator and the master of your own destiny and your own reality. So no one else should be able to bother you if you are tuned into your truth. So if you're bothered, then you're not, there's something that's out of tune, right? So it's like going through the guitar, right? Maybe you're a musician, but it's like you're going through the steps and saying, okay, this one's out of tune. This one's not quite right, right? And yeah, okay, I'll stop there just because I feel like I could continue to go. But I really feel for you guys, and I want you guys to raise your vibration, raise your frequency, like heal this stuff, because it's not that serious. And love and light and God, divine, it's all about levity and light and laughter, right? So if you're all frowns and you're all down, I really want you to turn that frown upside down, because otherwise the devil is winning. And the devil is just not very cool. I don't want the devil to win. I want the collective to raise up and be empowered and not be ill and disrupted and blocked, because every single one of us is worthy of unconditional love. All right, so, but I can't do it for you. No one can do it for you. You got to do it for yourself, and that's just the cold hard truth. The card hold. That's in the cards, baby. All right, so Aries, hopefully there was something in here. Until next time, I wish you well.